Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I am answering a question that came in that I absolutely love. And sometimes, again, when you guys send in questions and things, it tells me, what direction or what, viewpoint of something I'm talking about, I'm not thinking about. And this was such a good question, so I had to make it a full podcast episode. Side note, if you ever send me a DM on Instagram and you don't hear back from me, I pride myself every day. I'm answering all the messages, all the comments on the posts. But Instagram, if I haven't gotten a DM from you before, they will hide it in it's not called review. What's it called? Request folder. And most of the time that folder is full of literal spam and junk, right? Like it's just not anything. But I was going through there and there were some legit things in there, legit questions from real people, not bots or anything. And so what I'm basically saying is if you reach out to me in a DM, you've never sent me a DM before, and I'm not getting back to you, it's because I haven't seen it. So what I was telling people today on Instagram is if you just go to one of my posts and make a comment on there and just say, hey, I sent you a DM. I haven't heard back from you. So just wanted to let you know. I usually will see all of the comments will pop up in my posts. So that's one way to get my attention where I'll actually see it. I feel so horrible when somebody has tried to get to me and ask me a question, and this one, it's been a month, and this was kind of an important question and something they kind of had to know. So with all of that being said, let me get to the question. So she said, I'm looking to buy a house that was flipped. I know there are good and bad flips. Could you give me some things to look for that would be red flags? It's staged beautifully, which already puts me on the lookout. I hate to be suspicious, but it's a big investment and likely the last home I will be purchasing. I appreciate any tips that you could provide. Love this question. She is right. There are good flips and there are bad flips, and she's on the other end of it. So she is looking to buy a house that was flipped to sell. I'm just going to go through the things that I told her to do. So number one is you ask them. Ask them what they've done to the house. Pay attention or write down everything they're telling you that they've done. So those are the things that you can really spend more time on, or look at those things and see if you see any red flags in those things that they said they did, right? Because those are the things they said they did. So now check them kind of and see how well they did. Did they follow the right, did they do what they were supposed to do? Start there. Secondly, another thing to kind of look for is, when did they buy the house? Like, when did they close on that house to now when you're actually looking at it and it's already on the market? Was it 3 weeks? Was it a year? Was it 6 months? If it's a really short amount of time, that could be a red flag. And I mean could, because Matt and I, when we are flipping to either rent or sell, my time frame is 3 to 5 months, obviously depending on the project and what it is. That's with both of us working full time besides this, and we don't have a huge crew. We are DIYing a lot of it. I'm not saying that it can't be done, but just see what their timeline is. And especially like if this is their full-time gig, this house is the only one they've had and they got it done in 3 weeks and they have a full crew, it could totally make sense. Again, every project going to look different. Every house is going to be different, depending on what it needed. But that's just kind of a good, what do I want to say? Just kind of ask that question. Or you might be able to already tell if you can look like on your city assessor site, which will lead me into this next one. Did they fill out a disclosure? So that's where they kind of, and I know every state's going to be different. And this lady is down south, so a lot different than Iowa. But is there some kind of disclosure or something that they have filled out that can tell you kind of what they know about, what they don't know about, the yes and no kind of answers to different things in the house? And then also look on the city assessor's site. So if that is how your city does it where you are, if they do, look up the house and see what permits have been pulled and for what. And this will go for, before they had the house even. It should have a list of all those kinds of things just for the property itself, the house itself. With that being said, your main questions are HVAC, roof, plumbing, water heater, electrical, those big ticket items. How old are they? They should be able to tell you that, or they should be able to tell you that they just did it. Brand new roof, we just did it. Or, we updated all the electrical, we just did it. Those are those big ticket items that you really, really, really want to have a good knowledge of when they were done, because those are the things that could go wrong fast when you own the house. And so for some people, maybe that's kind of a negotiation thing. Like, the HVAC is 40 years old. So that's something that you're going to have to do. So maybe you could work that into the negotiations or whatever. But just so you're knowledgeable of the age of those big ticket items, that you need that. You need that in your tool belt. So here are some other things to watch for. She's so right about staging. Staging is amazing. And I would encourage anybody that's going to sell, even if you're going to rent, and you're just having a hard time getting people in, stage it so they can kind of see how they could lay out the rooms and live in the space. But if you're going to buy, pay no attention to the staging. The staging can hide a lot. That is just the lipstick. So it's great to kind of see how they've laid it out, but you are not paying attention to any of that at all. Even if they've done it so impeccable, it's right, it's your taste, you love it. Look beyond the staging. So she's very right to say it's really beautifully staged, but what else am I missing? So she's totally right to ask those questions. So fresh paint everywhere. That's great. Just putting new paint on the walls can really update a space. But look closely at baseboards, ceilings, corners, and around windows. Are there hairline cracks that are covered with paint? Depending on where they are, that could be a foundation issue. Is there bubbling or peeling paint anywhere? That could be a moisture issue. Open windows and heavy scents and fresh paint, all of those together could mean they are hiding something. There is some other smell. So when the fresh paint is gone, the windows are shut, what is coming? What is the smell that they're trying to mask? Is it pet urine or other stains or scents that they can't get out of the hardwood floor, the carpet that they didn't replace? You could ask why the house was painted. Was it a cosmetic refresh, or did you have to, patch a bunch of holes in this wall? Did you have a bunch of moisture? Why the fresh paint? This is a big investment for you. You can ask these questions. No questions are, dumb or whatever. Ask. Another thing is to look for if new flooring doesn't match the door heights. So some people will miss this, and we have seen this many times in the houses that we've gone through. Now, granted, when we are flipping a house, we want to buy it as is, and we know it's going to need work, that kind of stuff. But doors that look shaved down or barely clear the floor could mean that flooring was slapped over old floors. Uneven transitions between rooms can indicate shortcuts too. So it's just kind of a couple things to look for when you're looking kind of at flooring. Hidden layers can trap moisture. They can cause long-term warping. Obviously, it's going to depend on what kind of flooring you have. So that's just kind of something that we have seen before with the doors being shut. And most of the time with the doors being cut, sorry. And most of the time for us, it was high, what am I trying to say? High pile carpet, like the old carpet. It was taken out. And so there was a huge space between the door and the hardwood floors, if that makes sense. So it could just be that too, but it's just something to look out for. Outlets and switches that don't line up. So again, I did tell you electrical is a huge money. That's going to cost a lot if you have to update the electrical. So if you see crooked outlets or switches sitting oddly on fresh walls, right? Or if you see a mix of old outlets and new outlets, right? Like the kitchen's got all new outlets and you go into the bedrooms and there's still the old ones. Well, that may mean that they didn't update all of the electrical. They just put on new outlets in the kitchen. Like, you need to ask why they're different, right? They should all be the same throughout the house. If they've updated everything and it's up to code and where it's supposed to be. So when you see those things, it's usually that the electrical was not updated, but just cosmetically covered. So you always, every flip house we ever go through, we always look at the electrical panel. Wiring and outlets were inspected. You want to make sure that they were upgraded, those kinds of things. So just looking at the electrical panel alone can tell you a lot if they've been updated and those kinds of things. Brand new kitchen, but the old guts are in it. So shiny new kitchens sell houses fast, but always look deeper. Open the cabinets. Are they solid or flimsy? Are the drawers, like open every single drawer? Are the bottoms of the drawers in the drawers? Does that make sense? Like, or are they not attached? Do the doors or the drawers slide out? And, do they work properly? Check under the sink. So when you, as soon as you open the cabinet under the sink, you'll see the pipes there, right? Even if they have new pipes in there for what you can see, make sure that those new pipes aren't going into or are not tied into old plumbing, right? And so if you find that right there kind of tells me like, okay, they did a total, they did shortcuts and they're only doing the things that I can see that they think somebody is not going to look further into. Does that make sense? Like there's shiny new pipes under the kitchen sink, so that it's all new plumbing. Not necessarily. So kind of look beyond that. So another thing to ask for in the kitchen basically was the plumbing updated or did they just swap the fixtures? Which is great to not have good fixtures, but your main issue is, a fixture, even, it's $100. It's depending on what you get, right? But plumbing is going to be thousands of dollars. So that's definitely something you want to look for. I'm taking a quick break from the episode to share some exciting news with you. If you have ever wanted to flip furniture for extra cash, a creative outlet, or to build a business but didn't know where to start, there's never been a better time. My Furniture Flipping Academy is now just $79, which is over $200 off the original price. Inside, you'll learn how to find amazing pieces on a budget or for free, how to transform them step by step, sanding, painting, staging, all the things, how to price and sell for real profit, and even know how to work with brands to grow your flipping business in more ways than you know. And that's just the start. There is so much more waiting for you inside the Academy. We have so much packed inside the Academy. It's completely self-paced. Once you buy it, it's yours for life. There are no deadlines. There's no pressure. We do have a sneak peek inside the link in the show notes. It will give you a glimpse inside the Academy. And here's the truth. Nothing changes unless you do. You can keep waiting for the right time, or you can take this step now. At $79, the price isn't holding you back anymore. So stop hesitating. Stop making excuses. Click the link and get started today. Okay, so this one, of course, I already went here, but the HVAC, mechanical systems, all of that, you need to know the age of the furnace, the air conditioning, the water heater, and the roof. I'm going to say this again. Those are your 4 main high priority, high ticket things that you need to know. So everything else on the inside may look new, but all your mechanicals are 40 years old, right? Again, this could be a negotiation tactic to get the house a lot less, and then you just take on fixing those yourself. But you need to know. You need to know going through it. And if they haven't replaced it, let's say they're older. So we've been through a lot of houses where they haven't replaced them. They are older, but yet they're getting them serviced every single year. And they've got like the sheet to show us, the proof to show us that they've been serviced every single year. So that's another thing to ask when you're dealing with those. Windows that look new but aren't. Windows are another thing. We just finished our last flip, needed all new windows throughout the entire house. That is not cheap, but they're so important, right? So they were the original windows to the house. And so much air was coming in and out of them. They were not energy efficient at all. So it's, in the long run, I mean, they're gonna, especially if you're gonna live there, they're gonna pay for themselves. We actually have somebody renting the house from us, but it was just something that had to be done. See if they're actually new. They're not just painted. Try opening all of them. Not just 2, all of them. And then check for drafts or fog between the panes. That'll kind of tell you too if it's something that you need to replace soon, later, or not at all. Maybe they're fine. So basement or crawl spaces that smell clean. So I know this sounds weird, but heavy deodorizers, fresh paint, or sealed concrete can hide moisture. And so we have been, especially some of the houses that we have bought that were rentals, this one lady that we have bought a few from, she would try and I don't know if it was her or if it was the guy that used to work on her houses, but they would get those, what are those things that you like plug in and they put a scent through the house? But it never, especially for me, I feel like I'm really sensitive to those things. It's like, it doesn't make it smell good at all. It almost kind of, I don't want to say what my dad used to say, but it basically just smells like you put lotion or a scent over something that smells bad. Does that make sense? Like it almost highlights it for me. Like, okay, there's something going on here. Just be aware of that. If you see any white chalky residue, downstairs on the concrete floors or whatever, that's usually water intrusion. Like it's left over from water that's come in. So, and that's another huge one that I didn't mention because I was trying to I don't want to make this overwhelming, but the foundation that will make us literally, it'll be an amazing house upstairs. And as soon as we get downstairs, it's like, no, if it's not a poured basement, that's probably going to be, there's different kinds of poured basements, but that's probably going to be a no for us. But there's just things with the foundation that you have to be really, really careful with. That's going to cost a lot of money. So definitely something you want to look at. And always get an inspection. Even if it's something, a lot of houses, even now, like when we look at houses for us to move into, a lot of them will say selling as is. So we would love to find not an old home like 1800s or anything like that, but maybe something that was built in the 60s, 70s, and the people have been there forever, and it's just not been updated, and now it's part of an estate, and the family's does not want to like fix anything up or change the carpet or anything, so they're selling it as is. Totally fine. Like they're not going to let you get an inspection. But if it is a house that you really want to, like you're really thinking about it, hire your own inspector. Not one that's recommended by the seller, especially if it's a flipped house. Let me say that again. Hire your own inspector, not one that's recommended by the seller, especially if it's a flipped house. And you may have to eat that cost, but the $300, or it could be a lot more now, but whatever it is, will be so much cheaper than if you bought something and you're spending, thousands of dollars to fix things. So get an inspection. Another thing to look for are permits that are missing or they're vague, right? So again, every state, every city, I don't even know, is going to be different on what you need to pull permits for, all that kind of stuff. And if they've pulled permits for the things that they did do, then that should show up on, well, I shouldn't say should, because again, this could be different in your city, but we can go on our city assessor site and say, okay, they got the HVAC was updated in 2022 and the roof was done in 2023, like, because the permits were pulled for that. So that's good because you want to make sure that the work meets the codes, right? So that's all for electrical, plumbing, structural changes, additions, all of those things should have a permit pulled. And again, I shouldn't say should, because you may live somewhere where those, certain things don't have to be pulled for that, but it could be something you could look into. So a quality flip comes with before photos, itemized work lists, receipts, warranties. A bad flip comes with vibes and throw pillows. I kind of said this because, and not all of them do. For me, every flip we've ever done, I've documented it all on the website. So myself, have before photos. We have shared those. A couple of them, we bought the houses from families that, they grew up in the house, and then we made them over, and then we had the families come in after we got the work done. And it's one of my favorite things. There's tears. It's so fun. But you're able to, kind of have proof of what you've done and why you did what you did, those kinds of things. So some smart buyer moves that you can do is, like I said, hire your own inspector, ask for a sewer scope, especially in older homes, get a radon test, do a termite inspection, ask the neighbors what the house was like before. Walk the house after rain if possible, just so you can kind of see. Walk the house at different times, those kinds of things. If I know some houses fly off the market, so I know, depending, that may not be possible, but trust your discomfort. Your gut notices what your eyes don't. If there's something off, it's off. Trust that. So, and a good flip is going to prioritize structure, your mechanical systems, safety, and longevity. A bad flip prioritizes trends, staging, speed, and profit only. Like that's literally what it is, right? Beautiful staging isn't a deal breaker, but it should always trigger better questions. Don't just trust, oh, they took so much time in staging, so everything else has got to be good. That's the easy part. Staging is the easy part. It's all the other stuff, the work that has to be done for that house to be sound and great for somebody else moving in. When we flip houses, it's so crazy, but in each house, and one of them was a duplex, but I can picture the person that would live there, because they all kind of have a different demographic, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, this is a young couple, or this is an older couple could live here. And so that kind of always helps me when I'm making decisions and what we need to do. And now that our kids are old enough that, soon they will be getting their own places and stuff. It's like, okay, what do our kids need? Because I am now, especially right now, we are renting to two young couples. They're in their 20s. And I mean, that's going to be our kids soon. And so we, that kind of helps us too. Like if Landon and Gabrielle are in a house, I want to make sure that those people did X, Y, Z, or this is really good for them, or this, so that kind of helps us too. But I absolutely loved this question. Please keep sending your questions in. And again, it was just not viewpoint that I thought about. Like somebody that wants to buy a flipped house, what should their red flags be? So love this question. I'm so grateful for every question that comes in. You can always, this one came in through Instagram, so you can always DM me at My Creative Days. You can always email me, Lindsay, at mycreativedays.com. You can email me your questions or topics or whatever through there too, but I appreciate each and every one of them. I am going to continue to tell you that if you enjoy the podcast, make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. We will leave the link in the show notes. We will always have the podcast hosted, am I saying this right, on the YouTube channel. It's always launched on Mondays. That will never change. We are making some changes with some other things that we are hosting in different areas that will not be in those areas anymore, if that makes sense. So we are making a lot of changes, but the podcast will always be on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you click the bell when you're there, all of this is free. To subscribe, it's free. To click the bell, it's free. Some people say, how much does it cost to subscribe? Nothing. It costs nothing. I just want to make sure that you're following along on YouTube, because if not, you're going to probably miss podcast episodes and you won't be able to binge old ones on the old platforms, if that makes sense. But you can get them all. And are we in our 6th year? We might be in our 6th. That sounds crazy to me. Maybe we're in our 5th year. Anyway, you will get them all. They're all on YouTube, so you can binge them all there. But the other platforms, they will be gone. So you have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel. Again, link is right in the show notes. Just click it, subscribe, click the bell, because then you'll be notified when new things come up. And besides the podcast, I'm launching new videos every week on YouTube. DIYs, thrift hauls, a ton of stuff. The flip houses we're doing, the home projects, the other projects we're doing, the furniture flips I'm doing, all of that is on the YouTube channel as well. So you're getting a lot more than just the podcast. So until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you very soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.